Hey, what up, Ezio? How you doing? Just about ready, I think. All right, cool. Let's see. Cool. I'm a little tired. I almost didn't stream today, but I'll probably just do a short one, flowers, and then I'll book it. How's your day? Time no see. Load faster. Okay. Welcome to the night. Tired as fuck, dude. Same, man. I got home and I just like sat on my couch and was like, ugh. I just knocked out for like an hour and a half. I was like, that was unexpected. Oh shit, I'm not reading. Hey, did your fair share too. Oh, she was thanking everybody for bullshit. Oh, somebody else usually redeems that. I thought you were Jay for a second. It has been quite a pleasure and quite an adventure as well. Yeah! Fuck off, Roan. Much remains to be done with all. The wise man still tends to the fire, though it burns brightly. Ours. Thank you so much. I just do not know how to thank you enough, my friends. To think of a couple ways. My job, don't mention it. Just fucking start hating him. Don't say that, Ryudo. You don't say that! Excuse me. Selena, come to the cathedral right now. His Holiness Sarah is overjoyed by the news of your arrival. Right now? I'm in the middle of dinner. I'm not ready yet. Can this not wait? Bitch, did I fucking stutter? We shall bring your things later. His Holiness Sarah is looking forward to having dinner with you. Please not make him wait. Bad feeling about this. Ah, no. I must not do that. Nerd. Everyone, Ryudo. Come on now. Don't spoil the moment, kid. By now, you know what to do. Good luck. Yeah, you do. Miss Elena, please take care. Kindness is indeed a rare treasure, Elena. Just suck her dick while you're at it. Jeez. Well, Miss Elena, thank you all for everything you have done. I will not forget you. She's all right. Miss Elena, she's gone. She is. And now we turn to other matters. Well, our job here is finished. Yeah, the job's done, but I'm feeling a little sad about the whole thing. Go figure. I change of heart now. Oh yeah, I remember now. I can see it. The day of darkness is near. Valmar's moon too, its vile shadow, is growing ever stronger. Picked a bad time to join the stream, lol. Ads plus 90-second ad break. Wait, ads plus the 90-second ad break? Did you end up restarting? Played the hub for 50. Oh wait, did that not play? Did the hub not play? It's supposed to go boom boom. That's not good. Wait, thank you for the biddies though. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Where's the source? Broken stream. No. Wait. Whoa. I think I know what's happening. I think I'm a silly goose. And I didn't put it here. So let me see. I think RE would have had it. Let me copy and paste the source. And then I'll redeem it for you. Because you paid. Alright, we're gonna do this one. Right, does this one have it? I forget. Also, this one might be broken. This is weird. I like free. Right, don't worry about that. There should be sound alerts thing. There we go. Copy. Let me come back here. Baba. What up, Jeremiah? Hold on, I'm trying to troubleshoot something real quick. I fucked up. Okay, sound alerts. And then I think I could do it for you. I'm pretty sure I have to do it on my channel. Hold up. Wait a minute. Otherwise I'll give you 50 cents tomorrow. Everything's not working right. All right, you did. That one go across? Yeah, buddy. Let's fucking go. I also have this one. Oh, it's on cooldown. Oh, here we go. Can't sleep, haha. So I thought I'd come and chill. Oh, well, welcome in.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh, that's right. And I have this one too. Yeah, because I've never, like, these are rarely actually redeemed. I forgot I even had these. How come there it is, there it is. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I got this one too. Let's level up. I don't even remember.
I'm upset.
Oh, nice.
Louder.
Sick.
I'm
upset.
Louder. I'm upset.
I fucking love that movie. All right, hold on. Let me scroll all the way back up here. All right, cool. So the problem was this scene didn't have the sound redeemed source. So my apologies. I hope I made up for it. I redeemed myself. Hi, BB. You need the I do. You didn't redeem shit. What up, Ken? Hit the dude. I actually will. You're still a bitch. No, you. I need to get like a reverse Uno card and just like pull that up. How you doing, Ken? Yeah, I'm caught up. Cool. Get the RFK soundbite. It's too much. I see it. The day of darkness is near. Where's my emo? I've been busy. I'm sorry. One day, probably not this month, but one day where I'm gonna get that twerking Pikachu just for you, okay? It's too much. Valmar's Moon too. Its Fox Shadow's growing ever stronger. Busy being a bitch, that's what. Hey, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. Add Jorge? I think I can. I'll do him twerking. I'll add Jorge twerking as a redeem. How about that? You don't know who Jorge is. You will. Valmar is certainly attempting to revive. You must understand this. Make him twerk. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What are you up to tonight, Ezio? You playing more Assassin's Creed Shadows? Listen, Elena, your mission is important. Not just for you, but for the world. The darkness must be resealed in. Doing this will require all your effort, power of Lord Granus, and the divine sword, the Granus Saber. You must find it, no matter what. Fail, and the world is doomed. Damn it. Yes, sir. Nice. You said you're in the last area? I understand. You must succeed in order to remove the darkness within you as well. You must prevail. I understand. I will not let you down. It's like salutes. Fucking might as well cut your nuts and turn your dick into a pussy, you slut. I mean, that escalated quickly. But if I don't want my nuts and dick turned into a pussy? Think of that. You do not have my consent. Yeah, dude, that's like fucking the Terrifier approach. If you know, you know. Never been one for goodbyes or hellos. Can't help but feel a little bit sad when someone like her leaves. Yes. For Missy Lena with us, we would be able to see inside the cathedral. I'm in the third to last area. Oh, okay. Damn, 100 hours in. Been asking for my special needs to bring a Pikachu for a month. Yeah? Well, people in hell want cold water. My schedule sucks dick, okay? You'll get your redeem. Don't turn my dick into a pussy. No. when y'all mention those arcade noises, it makes me think of YouTube Shorts guy Gregory Johnstone. His arcade impression is quite funny. Yeah, that was heavily inspired by him. What happened was one of my coworkers showed us that. Hey, thank you for the biddies. And then it's been like a low key like vocal stim for the past like I don't know 2 months at least. It's been a while. It's fine. Insane in the worm brain. exactly. Yeah, the one that we like is where he's like your trip babysitter. Oh yeah, I should. That died down though. That one's not as popular anymore. But RFK is still relevant. I presume it interests you. Damn, buddy. Well, I'm deaf now, but I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. You don't gotta give me biddies, but it means a lot. Thank you. Yes, Miss Elena often spoke of the confrontation between light and darkness, but I don't quite understand it all. Idiot. Light, darkness, Uranus, Valmar, can't tell them apart. Is he that atheist? He just has no idea of like the most popular belief system around him. As well, I'm not versed in matters of religion, so we might just find out something there. Thank you for the biddies, bro. Mr. Ryudo, I presume? See. What is this? I'm busy. Didn't your church drill some manners into you, or did you just drill through your head? Apologies for my rudeness, Ryudo. The Pope... Get out of here. I don't want to meet the Pope. Has called for you. Please come to the cathedral right away. Look, I realize word of my amazing singing voice has spread everywhere, but I'm not interested. His Holiness Zara has a special request. You're sure some good cuddles. Oh, I will. This bitch gets like daily cuddles. I have no choice. No matter where I am, she is. Except right now, she's on the couch. Please bring your companions also. I beg my leave. Yeah, get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of here! The Pope has a special request. Sounds like our life too. Sounds like the first line of a really bad joke. Gotta get a cat cam with a new camera. Oh, dude, I will actually. That's really a good idea. I won't be able to do it while I'm using my Elgato though. That's funny. Actually, that's funny. Elgato and cat. But anyway, because I have to use that for my console capture. But if I'm showing PC games, I could definitely do that there. It's too much. LMAO, yeah. I said it as I said Elgato as I'm pointing to my gato over there. Elgato. What kind of person is His Holiness Zara? I understand he is said to be the sage who will save the world, which isn't nearly as impressive as a sage who will save his breath. This better be quick. Got him. Guy. I forget. Did I waste all my money at the shop yet? Did it just tell me to go here? I forget what I did. Last night I was just like, I gotta go to bed. I think I already did this. Get a mini GoPro. Oh, got a mini GoPro. I'm planning on putting one of my roommates can't to film their adventures. That should be good. You should upload those to the Discord or the YouTube channel, wherever you're gonna put that. I would love to see kitty adventures. Did you ever see that Smack My Bitch Up music video with the cat? I think it's like fan made, but it's pretty great. Here, this is for you. I think it was Smack My Bitch Up. Smack My Bitch Up. Cat. Yee! Alright, man, back to the grind. Alright, dude, have fun. I will see you tomorrow. Share, copy. Here, put this on too, Ezio. If that is your real name.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
Isn't Chucky just like the shit? I fucking love him. Alright. What the fuck is the church? Ah! Okay, catch. Oh, I want one. I don't know what that is. Huntail? Work where can go. I haven't been accosted yet. First, hey, what up, Jay? What's good in the hood, bro? I 'm 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 ' Grandia's Cathedral. You catch Ultra Ball. Yeah, Jay, I looked it up. I'm like literally at the halfway point. Catch these nuts. Nice, nice. I don't think you have that Pokeball though. It's like a duo. It's like Bolos. Like, I'm impressed. Those balls are wet. Catch these nuts. I love this game. I love this game. Wait, what does that mean? That rock emote. Whatever. Quite remarkable in its proportions. The thoughts of its architect twists and wind almost palpably through the sculpted stone. How beautiful. It must have taken forever to build. I got coal or something. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. You must be Mr. Ryudo. His Holiness awaits in the audience chamber. And fuck His Holiness. Stop gawking. Move it. Got a rock. It's not just a boulder. It's a rock. It's a rock. Cathedral lobby. Mr. Ryudo, please go inside. I'm sorry, but your companions must wait outside. Didn't he say my friends could come? He has important things to discuss with you, so... Oh, it's alright. I don't mind. I can wait. At least... can I at least wait somewhere interesting? Hell yeah. Ah! Our library is most interesting. There you will find many important books about the doctrine of our church. You said interesting! Mr. Ryudo, can I talk to you really quick? Yeah, sure. There might be some interesting information at the library. I'll check it out. Clever boy. He's a boy? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm proud of you, you know that. I hope you do.
Well, hell yeah. Thank you. I'm proud of you. Right back at you. More clever than other little boys I know. Don't word it that way. How many little boys do you know, Sky? So I may lead you to the library? Yeah, sure. Fuck off. Well then, Mr. Ryudo, please go in. You two, this way, please. It's a rock. This way. Ryudo, we'll be waiting in the library. Alright. Go to the library after this. Yeah, I'll meet up with you later. Yeah. It's just at the beginning of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest today. And how did that go? Game sucks. Yeah. Like I was asking, like, it wouldn't be so bad if it at least had a good story, but even that's fucking boring. So that sucks, dude. I've never played it. I would like to, just for the sake of it, you know? Like maybe in like a gross, like, oh, it's really chill sense. Like I can like cozy up right here and put a movie on and just chill. I don't know. Yeah, I'll meet up with you later. Oh yeah, I already read that. The service is still in progress. All I read. God damn the auto-scrolling text sometimes. I was putting my chapstick on. It's a button-mashing, head-banging piece of garbage. Is the music good at least? Is there any redeeming quality of this fucking game? God, this game has good music too. It came with a soundtrack, like a CD. Remember when games used to do fun shit like that? Now the music is good. I don't think I've heard a single piece of music in that game. It has good pixel art and does a neat thing where the sprites change as they take damage. Oh, that's cool. I'm surprised that's not something they incorporated into like the main series. What do you think? Oh, actually, I think this part has voice acting. I remember correctly. Dude, I love the art style. It's like Final Fantasy 9, but like borderline R-rated sometimes because there's like blood. I meant 8. Sorry, I meant 7. Oh, I think it might actually be
Bring to
retarded.
this world light, peace, and harmony.
No, wait, no spoilers, no spoilers.
Your
No
Holiness,
spoilers, please.
Please, come on.
Unless you're fucking with us.
What can we do to rid the world of the terrifying darkness?
You must bolster your soul. If you leave no chink in the armor of your soul, then the darkness will be forced to leave.
Please save us from Valmar.
You must
The game
not
ends,
falter.
fucker.
We must all not give in to darkness. I cannot save you. You must save yourselves.
Your Holiness Zera, please lend me your ear.
Yes, what should we do?
What will happen to the world?
Quiet. We are here to bring peace.
I wish
to
I
the
made more
world.
time for
How
JRPGs.
can one
I would
do
argue
so in a
JRPGs.
panic? Everyone, please calm down.
They're just the best, you know?
Yet, Your Highness Zera, the
It always
recent
ended
rumors
for
of
me.
the
Well, now
revival
we're gonna
of
turn it off
Valmar
forever.
are not going away. I have even had reports that the rumors might be true.
Oh, Jay, so Steam Link
Right, High
works like
Priestess
garbage on my
Celine?
TV, even when everything's
At this
hardwired.
rate,
I'm gonna check
the
out Moonlight
day of
tonight.
darkness
Dude,
seems
apparently everybody says
unavoidable.
just do that.
But we must not strike fear in the hearts of the people we are trying to save.
You think it takes
Doing
almost
so
at
would
most 5
surely go
hours? Oh,
against
damn,
the
it's that
will of
short.
Lord
Jay can do that in the
Kratos.
stream.
What do you say, Cardinal Oro?
Oh, when the day of darkness comes, the world will most definitely be destroyed.
Yeah, that's good at least.
I don't know what we can do.
5-hour RPG. There's only one other game that you can beat in that time,
Do not misunderstand
and
me.
I liked it a lot.
I'm not saying
It's for
that the
babies
action
though.
the Cathedral
It's
Knights took was wrong. But you went too far.
Adventure
You
Time,
must not frighten the
Pirates
people
of
away from Lord
Enchiridion,
Gravis.
or whatever it's called.
Yes,
Some shit like
Your
that.
Holiness.
It's really cute.
You must all remain
and
on
short and
guard,
sweet, you know?
so that darkness cannot take advantage of you. Please, everyone, back to your room.
It's like a solid like 7. It's good. It's not great. I enjoyed it. If you're not an Adventure Time fan, I wouldn't recommend it. Ah, Mr. Ryudo, please come. Ah, yes. Play me like a drum. Is that what he says? Nice speech. Please accept my apologies. I did not mean to make you wait. Well, you fucking did. Oh god, just kiss me? Oh, what are you doing? This Pope's on brand. I'm sorry for having called upon you at short notice, but my request is not an ordinary one. Please, to the next room. Huh? Oof, a 7 on Joe scale is like a 4. Yeah. I go to this motherfucker's bedroom. Where am I going? I thank you for what you have done on Elena's behalf, but now I have a special request to make. Before we get to that, tell me, what about Elena? Will she be alright? If you ask if the presence of Valmar can be driven from her. Sadly, I must tell you that it is beyond even my power. However, if the sword of Granus can be recovered, there may yet be a hope for us all. This is why I have to ask you here. Talking. I want you to find the divine sword, the Granus saber. The sword which slew the Dark One must be returned to us if light is to be restored to this world. Still haven't made an actual request, but I get the idea. Yes, Elena has told me much. Enough for me to know that you are the only one capable of contending darkness. Naturally, this request must appear absurd to you. However, as a reward, we shall give you whatsoever you request. $1 million, Sydney Sweeney. Also, fun note, apparently pissed everyone off at my house today. LOL. Was doing Mario Kart 64, and with the Mario Raceway, did the 10-second lap glitch. I don't know about that glitch, but yeah, that probably pissed me off. Playing it and this fucker's just fucking lap. Suddenly this conversation has become more interesting, right? He's straight up, first you have my attention. No. First you have my curiosity. Now you have my attention. However, When you depart, I wish Freelinda to accompany you. Why bring her along? Sure you don't want to cast a few wards against Valmar instead? Fortunately, we can do nothing more for Freelinda now. You would be unable to protect her from Valmar even if she were to remain here. She will be safer with you, Mr. Ryudo. More like, yeah, let's hear it. What up, Paul? You're right, your request is absurd. The pieces of Valmar struggle for dominance, each attempting to devour the others in order that the darkness will be restored. According to prophecy, once the pieces unite, the day of darkness will come upon us and all mankind will be destroyed. What do we do? Sharpen a pointy stick? Oh, Ryudo. Grandia poo. There it is! He said the thing! Lord Granus has yet to recover from battle. Thus, our world heads towards darkness, lacking the guiding hand of light. Wait, Grandia do? I actually like Grandia do more. Because the D is closer to the T, you know? There's a joke there too somewhere. Would at least be able to bring back some of the light of Lord Grandia Deuce. I like Grandia do. Then can Elena be saved and our world protected from the advent of the day of darkness? Any idea where the sword might be? No. Fortunately, our holy book says that only that it rests with the Legion of Darkness. I'm sorry, that's not vague enough for me. Could you be a little less specific? I need some time to think it over. I will wait until tomorrow for your answer. I have prepared rooms for you, so please stay here tonight. But I see that I have tired you. Rest and return tomorrow. But please, consider my offer. I hope you will accept it. What are you up to tonight, Paul? You playing Rocket League? Bad game? Are you alright? Has something happened? Oh, do not worry about me. I just want you to think long and hard about Pope Zero's request. Nope, was working on game stuff. Hell yeah. You should play Reanimal. I want to, actually. That looks pretty good. Elena, what's with you? Ryudo, do as he asks. Por favor. Not for me, but for everyone. The world! Bye. You see that hideous, god-awful DLSS3 Instagram filter looking shit? No. Got co-op. Nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think, that one and, what's the fucking game that those developers made? Little Nightmares 3. I think they're both co-op. DLSS 5. No, I haven't seen it. I'll try to make note and look it up after this. What could His Holiness be thinking of at this rate? Where's the fucking library? You catch up with my bros? Cardinal Oro. I'm sensing a Howie Pelter Snatch Shattered Limit team up. I'm sensing it too. Yeah, man, if you're down, that'd be kind of fun. My schedule is garbage, so if that works for you, we can make it happen. Co-op for people with friends, no thank you. Could have friends too, if you weren't such a piece of shit. Ryudo, I believe, was your name. Just what did His Holiness Zera tell you? Aw, use my April O'Neil. Alright, I take it back. You're not a piece of shit. Huh? He asked me to find some divine sword. I see. His question... Oh, nice. Dude, I haven't seen these in forever, to be honest. Damn it, Joey. What? Yeah, I'm down. Just be aware that I stream late. Oh, unless this doesn't have to be a stream, and I just be playing with my friends. You hit Jay with the burn, then apologize every time. I wouldn't say I apologized. I just said I did not want to. But you're right. Good point. All right, Jay, you're ugly. How's that? I see. I question His Holiness Zera's selection of his emissaries. I tasked this great surely requires someone with more experience. Careful with your words, aren't you, old man? I'd be as careful with my judgment were I you. Experience I have, patience I don't. Chad's handsome and has a big dick. He doesn't take it back. He's like, never mind. JK. Go with, if you weren't such a piece of shit, then just kidding. You're not a piece of shit. You're a whole ass mud pie. There you go. Yeah. If I apologize, I'll do another insult. It'll just be a endless cycle. Insolence. Listen well, stripling. Stripling. It is best you abandon your search, for it is not for a churlish whelp to find the Grandia saber. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to ignore you, and then I'm going to leave. You just stay there. Stay. Good boy. That's funny. Ashes. What could His Holiness Sarah be thinking? That fool boy's insouciance will be our ruin when the day of darkness comes. Whatever shall we do? You'd never hear me apologize for calling you short. That's fair. I would just look straight over your head so you don't have to see you cry. Nice. That's pretty good. Point taken. Working on it. Oh, would you rather be black or Chinese? Here we go. Malaysian. Nice. Good answer, actually. Good answer. Alright, where's the fucking library? There's signs that the world has been cursed. That's the worst one, says the white guy. I think it's over here. They ran over here. Guest room. Yeah, you're welcome for civilization. Take credit for everything. I'd be the wrong kind of Blasian. Little dick but stealing bikes on the street. Here we go. The script is unfamiliar to me. Wow, this is really interesting. Oh, Mr. Ryudo, what do you have to say? You mean when he was actually talking out of his mouth? Nothing that wasn't completely ridiculous. So we want you to find the divine sword in order to halt the day of darkness? A dubious undertaking. We walk unguided through shadows. Do Chinese also have little dicks? I heard that as a Japanese thing. I don't know if it's all Asians. I don't know. You should go out and do a poll. The only clue is the words, the divine sword rests with the Legion of Darkness. You find everything else about that? No, not in this place. Anyway, Mr. Ryudo, you ought to read some of these books too. They have lots of details about Valmar and Granis, the Battle of Good and Evil, the Day of Darkness, and even the Divine Sword. Dinner awaits in the other room, and books do not spoil or grow cold without use. Let's go! I got a pull for you right here. Unzips dick. I should have seen that. That's funny. Teed you up without realizing it. Where's the food? Most educated, highest pay, best friend. Oh, dude, yeah. Fucking Key and Peele, dude. I fucking love that bit. Oh, wait, I didn't finish that. That's funny. I'm most likely to bang Asian girls. I'll go to Asians. He's not wrong. But that's funny. I thought you were doing that Key and Peele bit. You know what I'm talking about? When they're talking about like races and you think they're gonna go like all racist, but they just start like praising all of them. Yeah, nice. Alright, where the fuck is my dinner? It's probably back at the inn, to be honest. There's like racist. The thing about Mexicans, they work hard. Yeah, that's the one. Alright, I think I have to go back to the inn. I forgot if they said next door or the next room. But here's the thing. The inn isn't next door. Let me just check to see what else we got in here. Damn, I'm tired. Okay, maybe... Nope, okay, alright, I'm gonna go back to the inn. Right now, it's better not to go outside. All right, be that way. Hey, Conker, is he working tonight? Yeah, I think he's working tonight. Working his dick in his mouth. Wait, where the fuck do I go? Hang on. Talk to this dude? Maybe it is here. Jerking hard or hardly jerking, am I right? Okay, I do have to talk to this dude. I heard that dinner's ready. It'll be ready very soon. Please wait a little while. No! What good is it to chase after fancy now that the threat of darkness is upon us? No one has ever found the divine sword. How can he be so nonchalant about matters of such weights? I must consult my auguries for some means of holding back the darkness. Ooh. Uh-oh. This is an evil sign. The day of darkness draws near. What? Oh, he's adorable. Look at his face. Oh, he's my girlfriend. Yeah, I'm at work. Nice. Ah, the wings of Valmar. Valmar here in the cathedral. Someone come quickly. Truly, bread is the body's life as the earth is to all that spring from it. So also a fine bread is loom for the soul. The soul. Well, this bread is delicious. Mr. Rudo, are you gonna eat? Roan, Merrig, we're gonna look for that damn sword. I thought you would say that. Sword interests me, for I have not before heard of its like. You two coming along? It was evermore my intent. Please let me come along too. I could use your help. I appreciate it. Yo, have you played this before? Yes. Hello, Nightwolf. Yes, this is one of my favorite games. I just haven't played it in like a year. I hope playing these games is helping you learn to read. It's not. If it is as Holiness Era says, this has meaning for me too. What do you mean? Well, you see... Damn it, not again. We're eating! Please, excuse me. I'm told that Valmar has taken human form and entered the cathedral. Have you seen any suspicious persons? Dude, on this AI Discord, I'm in asked AI to build me a $1 million software company, and then just in a loop, I don't have $1 million yet. It keeps posting updates. Nice. If you don't know who I actually am, next time I see you, I'm gonna get it. You're gonna get it. Hey, Wolf. I need a clue. It's your dad. Nice. I didn't know they had Twitch in the afterlife. Nightwolf, I need a clue. Sigh. Okay. College. I know lots of people from college. Here's a clue. Gay bar, 1918, behind the dumpsters. Oh, Anthony. No, I was kidding. You said a clue. It's college professor that molested you. Oh, it's Delisle. Nice. Little Anthony. Is he here? No, he's not. Nightwolf. This is your first time in chat. I've known you from college. Leonidas. Adriana? Leonidas. Oh, it's fucking Barrett. How you doing? Is it Barrett? Did you know anyone named Nightwolf in college? No, I didn't. That's why I'm like, who the fuck are you? Yeah, nice. What up, man? How you doing? Have you seen any suspicious persons? Did you get rid of the clue redeem? I was gonna restructure and add some different ones, so I was rotating some out. So it is temporarily out. Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. He wishes. Do you know who I am? I want a clue. Have you seen any suspicious persons? Huh? No. No one has been here. Please excuse the interruption. I must go. Must be Millennia. What the hell is she thinking? Probably the only person on his friends list that still has a similar tag. I don't remember your tag being Nightwolf, to be honest. Sorry. How you doing, dude? Here's your clue, Jay. Your bedroom when you were 5, I was there. Oh wait, I wasn't paying attention. Where am I going? Outside? Hang on, if Millennia were outside, we'd be able to see the fire spreading already. There's been in the cathedral somewhere. Let me check over here. Joey's dad? Let's see. Maybe that's where he was when I was growing up. Same old, same old. I tried hitting up like a month ago, but he didn't respond, so I figured you were busy. He knows it. Yeah, I'm always busy. I'm always busy. Millennia. Anyway, thanks for hopping in the stream. Hope you're doing well. This game is great. Do you know who I am? Nice. So you're gonna look for the Grandia Saber, right, Rito? No problem, man. Just wanted to say hi. Or hey. Hey, what up? What are you playing these days? Did you play Requiem yet? No spoilers, because some people haven't. But I assume you did. You, what the hell are you doing here? You're practically standing on the dinner plate of Granis. Oh, like I care. If Granis ever wakes up, the big old god can smack me stupid. I smack you stupid? As long as he gets to follow you. As long as I get to follow you around again, Ryudo. I planned it, man. Nice. I'll pay Requiem after 0, so I'm in like 2030. Did we go to college together? Nice. No, you didn't. He's fucking with you. I don't think you've thought this through. See, when we find the sword, we're gonna use it to stab evil people. Oh, you're concerned about me? No one has ever been such a gentleman to me before. Just what do you think is best? I don't think you understand what I'm saying here, Millennia. He's a college dropout, kind of tarded. LOL, fair. I was gonna say, and you never will, and then time you out, but I think Joey would get mad and take my mod. Yeah, don't abuse it. He's fine. And come on, Skeeter, he ain't bothering nobody. It's funny that you have to replay 0 as much as you're not enjoying it. And also, congrats on platinuming it. I loved it a lot. They're about me. I know what I want, and we're running out of time. They're remaking 0. Yeah, honestly, 0 needs a remake. 0 deserves a remake. Or it's in the plans. No, apparently it's been reported that 0 and Code Veronica are the next remakes. They have to make it good. Yeah, they can't make it any worse. Dude, I don't know what it is about it. It's like every time I play it, I enjoy it less and less. And then my last playthrough, I really didn't really like it that much. You were hating it, dude. Code Veronica is coming out next, and then a remake of 1. Has the remake of 1 been confirmed yet? Well, I don't think anything's been confirmed. It's all like leaks and shit. But reportedly 0 and Code Veronica are like in active development. I would like another remake of 1, to be honest. I think that could be kind of cool. But I think there are other games that deserve remakes before that, like 0. A remake of 1, didn't we already do that? But yeah, but like in the style that they're doing now, like the over the shoulder kind of thing. Yeah, it's been long enough. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Wait, so am I leaving now? In 2002. Yeah. Yeah, we're all Resident Evil stands here on the GameCube. Yeah, we know, buddy. Right now, it's better not to go outside. God damn it, where'd I go? I only want remakes with Leon so we get more of his Karen haircut. Hey, how dare you talk about Leon that way? You put spec on Leon. But yeah, man, I loved Requiem. Yeah, Requiem fucks. Requiem is amazing, I would say. Like, you really did capture the best of both worlds. Like, if you like the action, it's there. If you like the horror, it's there. That story is awesome too. Well, Mr. Ryudo, have you made up your mind? Christopher Leon? Yeah. We know. One question. When we get to the Grandia Saber, will it belong to you or the church? And how will it be used? Very excited for the DLC. We need mercenaries now. I'm not that into mercenaries. Like, I always play it for like a little bit just as a distraction, but story DLC is what I want. The sole purpose of the sword is to strike down Valmar. As such, it belongs to none. For this great hope Grandis has given to us all. I'll take your word for it. Nice. Dude, with Requiem's gameplay? Yeah, actually, you're right. So, do you think, like, Grace and then Leon are getting DLC? Silent Hill 1 Remake is confirmed, though. Yeah, and it's from Bloober, which I love, because I think they crushed it with Silent Hill 2. Like, I need more Leon combat. The combat is very satisfying. I like how he's, like, a little slower because he's older, but it's just, like, it feels more deliberate, you know? The pairing is amazing. The fucking executions and finishers. Time to rock. We'll find the Grandia Saber, but not for the sake of Grandis or the church. Ryudo. Look, I'm sick of all the suffering in the world. If Grandis won't do anything about it, then someone has to. Well, Mr. Ryudo. It might be Alyssa-based, but it's been rumored to be Leon-centric. Bloober is good. I've only ever played Silent Hill, funny enough, too, the remake. I wanted to play the medium, but I haven't. And then I really want to play that astronaut game that they made like last year. Forgot what it's called though. You know what I'm talking about? Elena, you should leave now as well. Your soul brims with light. Be strong in your mission and do not yield your heart. See, Your Holiness Zara, farewell. SH2 remake was incredible though. Dude, it was great. Yeah, it was really damn good. Chronos: The New Dawn? Yeah, that one. That's Bloober, isn't it? Lord Grandia spoke to me last night. I am permitted to tell you this. Ryudo must face... Yes, hell yeah. Ryudo must face the past should he desire the divine sword. You should remember this. Ah, you should also take this along. It's sure to be useful. Book of Priests. Sweet. Elena, take care. And remember well our words. Your Holiness. Dude, that game fucked. Yeah, if you don't care about any of the artistic merit or intention of the original. Shut up, Jay. Ryudo, thank you for accepting this request. I wasn't going to let it, dainty little princess, mince and prance about without her faithful and obedient bodyguard. Oh, Ryudo, you... Miss Elena, we're together again. Our paths again are as one. It is good. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, making a 4-hour game into 15-hour game with 8 hours of combat. I mean, it's a good game. Huge improvement. It is. The game's great. Come on, let's get moving. Like, there's cases for both, but, you know, it's not like it's not allowed to exist. It's a good game. It's a good remake. Performances are good. It's beautiful. Combat's satisfying. It's actually scary this time. Future's now, old man. Never thought we'd travel together again. I'm counting on you, Elena, okay? And Netflix already is a good remake of the games. Negative. I feel the same way, Ryudo, Roan, Merrick, and Sky too. I'm counting on all of you. This time, it might be more difficult for us. Difficult times are indeed upon us. Welcome is the comfort of friends in this hour. That's right. Traveling would not be fun without all without you. Thanks, Elena. You're just an old boomer. Times have changed. I feel like a boomer, but you and I, not so different. You and I, we're millennials. Silent Hill 2 Remake was genuinely fantastic. If you didn't like that we got F this past year. Oh, you're gonna trigger him because he doesn't like F either. He's the kind of guy to immediately turn on the new Tomb Raider games and rage that the dev's artistic vision was... We're used to jerk off to triangles and he hates kids these days with their jiggle physics. I also think F sucks. Jay thinks everything sucks. But where to travel to? The Divine Sword is held by the Legion of Darkness. We can't just knock on their door, grab it, and run. I'm not familiar with this Divine Sword. I remember, in the holy book containing a passage, the people of darkness continue to hide deep in the bowels of the earth. Is it a metaphor, or is there more substance to it? Perhaps it is with these people we shall find the Legion of Darkness. I'm a fan of good games, personally. Perhaps we visit the kingdom of Kyrum? 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 I'm gonna say Kyrum. Cyrum? Where I lived. We might learn the meaning of these words. Actually, I'm gonna look it up. How to pronounce Grandia, that word. Cyrum. Okay. Cyrum. Sick. Perhaps we visit the... Oh, yeah. Got a lead? No. I just thought we might learn something useful. What other knowledge would... Or have we which would... Wait, what? What other knowledge have we which would intimate a course of action? Never heard that worded that way before. Intimate a course of action? Something about confronting my past, which probably means Melphis. Surely it could be none but he. Melphis. A long time it has been, brother. Now, you two. Anyway, the kingdom of Cyrum. What is this? Like, well, climate is warm and there's lots of water. Very good country. We don't need weather report, kid. We need to find some leads, and we might as well start in the kingdom of Cyrum. The kingdom of Cyrum lies to the east of St. Helm Mountain. Time. Come on. Let's go! Alright, let me equip some shit too. We got Elena back. Who needs an egg? Y'all have eggs now. The egg. Really? Oh, it's the book. Okay. Actually, yeah, I should be doing this now. Wait a minute. That's funny, actually. Have a chance to get items after combat. That's a good one. A really good one, actually. Oh, nice. That's really good. What we got here? Items. Start equipping some shit. Or skill equip. There we go. He does have zap. Is the chaos. That's the only one you get. I mean, I might give it to Millennia later. Speed is pretty good. Yeah, let's do speed, burrito. And you get that one, that one, and definitely that one. Actually, no, Millennia's gonna get that. You get intelligence. And then does item recover? No, what's the other one? Pirate's ring. This. Is Jay Conquers in your party? He could really use the intelligence. turn. Got him. What check did I give him? He got gravity. Okay, okay. Yeah. Now, if Jay was in my party, it'd be like this. Then he had to stop so he can take a breath. Then we go again. Then we stop so he can take a breath. Then we go to the inn and eat. Then we leave. Just kidding. A slight step up wouldn't help a dumb motherfucker like Jay. Here you go. I'd not apologize. I hear ya. I hear ya. I'll be meaner. Pilgrim Road. Is Howie on your dick because he really does not need any more semen today. His stomach's gonna burst soon. Funny. Like, excuse me, is this guy bothering you? It's like, is this guy on your dick? Oh, wait, is there people over here? Fuck right by you. Excuse me, how much further is it to the Grand Cathedral? I should be almost there. Are you going to pray? The cathedral's only a short distance ahead. Alright, bye, I don't care. On that Ozempic. All that semen sits in my stomach for days. Yeah, that's the thing about Ozempic, right? Like, it slows your digestion or something like that. I'm not quite sure how it works. Also, what are the side effects? You feel like shit? Imagine that's not a cozy feeling. Also, can you get any Ozempic for Jay?
Early winter with lots of snow.
While you're at it. Yeah, so it's digestion, and then you have one big semen cannon shit a day. Side effects are scary as fuck. Honestly, I would never touch that shit. Yeah, dude, what are the side effects? Like, I can't imagine that feels good, you know? Cancelled, I think. Oh shit. Yolanda, no. Did you permanently fuck up your stomach? Like ulcers or something?
We won.
Makes you feel kind of sick, but not nearly as bad as the old stuff I took for the beaties. The beatus. Beatus. Yeah, because it started off as, I mean, it is, right? Like diabetes medication? And then they were like, oh, yo, these fuckers are losing weight too. Yeah, it's diabetes medication. Yeah, my mom has it prescribed to her. Oh, really? I looked at the side effects a while ago because my sister was taking it. It's nasty stuff. Slow digestion means way slower absorbing sugar into the blood. Oh, okay, okay. I guess in that regard, you know, cool. Because you're type 1, right? Type 2? Oh, okay, okay. Just stop being diabetic, pussy. Okay, let's face it, you're one bad day away from being diabetic yourself. It is hard to not apologize after these jokes, by the way. I'm working on it. Type poo. Hey, nice. I call that a callback in the biz.
Oh, that was
as a breeze.
You've always been a pussy, it's fine. I gotta do work stuff. Alright, man. I might be here when you come back. Nice. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be using magic with her. Mischief.
Here goes my impact bomb.
Oh shit, somebody's doing something. Is it gonna cancel? I don't know if this movie cancels or not. Yeah, counters, it does not cancel. Here's what's gonna happen. We kill you.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
You there, Paul? How are my insults going? Good. Okay. I'm working on it. Brought to my attention. I'll fix it. Particularly because Cyber is never online lately. Dude, for real. He barely streams too. I stream more than Cyber now. I can't car soccer by myself. You can't.
Expect an early winter. With
Grandia,
lots
huh?
of snow.
Hey, what up, Davey? Davey Valentine. I like how you spelled that. Yeah, I finished Grandia 1 last week, and I started 2. I played both before, but this is like one of my all-time favorites. It's a cozy game for me. I just haven't played it in like a little over a year. And actual hardware. I'm playing on a real Dreamcast. Oh, dude, nice. That's Justin and Fina. Aw. Oh, I want those emotes. Dope. Yeah, I never finished 3 before, so maybe I'll stream that after this, but I just love 2. I'm glad you still have your gear. Yeah, dude, my apartment's filled with video games. It looks like it belongs to, like, a 15-year-old instead of a 36-year-old. No. Actually, this Dreamcast I had to buy not too long ago. I had a Dreamcast growing up, but because we were going through some shit and I had to sell it. I know, bro. I know. Ah. I was in my 30s when you started this. No, wait. Didn't you just turn 40? You did, right? Because that's actually funny if like that's factually correct. What version are you running? Dreamcast. Actual Dreamcast with the VMU and a physical copy. It's not burned either. I have the actual like case and everything. But yeah, that was a true statement. That's funny, man. Ooh, OG, nice. I have the remaster on PC and on Switch, but for this I kind of wanted to, you know, try some actual hardware. I don't think the remaster is that much better. Like, it's nice to have widescreen. It's a little prettier. Lighting is nice, but this is 100% playable. How are you doing, Davey? Remaster has the hard mode is all. Oh, that's right. Because Grandia isn't necessarily difficult.
Get away with that.
But I love the story. I love the characters. I love the music. I like how 2 really capitalizes on the whole like interrupt thing. We just end this. That was a waste, but it's fine. I'm good, brother. Greetings from England, by the way. Oh, nice. Greetings from Nevada. Oh, nice. You got rap.
Nothing withstands my
What time is it over there? Is it like morning? It is 10:53 p.m. for me. Almost 6 a.m. Nice. Damn, are you early? Like, are you waking up early, or are you about to go to bed late? Gotta be honest with you, man. I never touched Grandia franchise. Missed it entirely. Grandia 1 as a game, I think it's good. You know, it's good. The combat's fun. The characters are charming. I think it just runs a little too long. I think Grandia 2, like, it trimmed the fat. It perfected the combat. And this is the one I started with, so I'm a little biased. I think in Japan, the remaster was originally named We Have Final Fantasy at Home. Nice. Night worker, night owl. I'm a night owl too, but I work during the day, which means my sleep schedule is garbage, even though I'm working on it. That's fair. Yeah, when I got my Dreamcast, I think I got it for my birthday, and then that Christmas, we got a second batch of games, and that's when I got Grandia 2. It actually took me a few months to give this game a try, because it was my first, like, console RPG. The only RPG I played before this game was Pokemon Red. But once I got, like, started on this, I was fucking hooked. And then, eventually, when I went to the Art Institute, that was when I played Grandia 1 on my PSP. But I didn't beat it until, like, years later. And I thought it was, like, just the cutest and sweetest shit. But this game, I think, is damn near perfection. This game is good. That's what I need to do. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of seeds I haven't been using. Let's see. Life, maximum HP. Moves SP. I'm gonna give this to Ryudo. Spells. Oh, actually, MP and magic. Okay, I'm gonna decide later on if Millennia or Elena should get that one. Ability. Did you beat Requiem? Yeah, like 3 times. It's fucking great, dude. I took PTO when it came out. That's all I wanted to do. Okay, dope. Yeah, but I didn't platinum it yet. That's your specialty. The only Resident Evil I platinumed, or at least the last one I did, was 3, the remake of 3. What? I've only done the bad ending, lol. Oh, dang. No spoilers, because people here haven't beat it yet, some people, but that's funny. Did you know what you were doing when you picked that one? Because I kind of hate that ending, but the good ending is good. Yeah, no spoilers. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, I got the good, and then I reloaded, and then I got the bad. It's awful. It's pretty bad. I wonder how many people beat the game thinking that's how it actually ends. Speed. P8. Oh, goddamn. Fence. Paladin. Alright, I'm gonna save the rest for Millennia. Did the same director as 7, and he put troll ending in that game too? He did, didn't he? I did. I had to get it done quick because I was due on a review podcast. Oh, dude, you have a podcast? Or decision, at least. Yeah. Yeah, no, when I found out, and it's funny, I didn't know until after I beat it that it was the same director as 7. That dude cooked both times. Because 7, I think, is one of my favorites. And then this is one of my new favorites. He did great for the series. Yeah, man, Davey, if you want to plug your stuff, go for it. Not my podcast. I was a guest on the Resi podcast. Oh, then is it like on YouTube or something? You should chill out and post it. I'll listen. If I can hear about Resident Evil and the I gotta be real. I think this moved into my number 2 slot as best RE games. Dude, it's up there, man. It's at least in my top 5. Plug my stuff. Oh, bro, forget Resi for a second then. What you got? He plugged his OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. Bro, I've interviewed Merrick's voice actor. Wait, fuck, really? East Fang, God, dude, yeah. Fucking drop that link. Can you introduce me? Wait, where'd I go? I need to see a map. Hug right? What do I do? Hang on. I'm gonna do this. Okay, this is the right way. Ink. Merrick, I'm pulling a blank. Oh, Merrick is the beast guy following me. Wait. Oh shit. Ah, okay. Fuck yeah, dude. Here, I'm gonna pull this up and then I'm gonna queue it and then I'm gonna watch it after stream. Davey Valentine. Subscribed. Good shit, dude. I'm assuming in the remake or remaster. Wait, no, Merrick is. Wait, what are you talking about? This game was remastered, but it's the same assets, same voice acting. Cheers, I got lots of interviews with Grandia voice actors. How did you fucking manage to do that? Good shit, man. You just hit them up and be like, yo, I'm a big fan. Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I want to interview some voice actors, especially if they're from my favorite video game. One of them. I'm gonna go into the Raw Hills. I think I am. Detective work. Y'all know Grandia 2 is Metal Gear Solid cast. I knew about Ryudo being Cam Clark, who was Liquid Snake. I didn't know about anybody else. Is Mei Ling Elena? No. It would Meryl? Would it be Meryl? Yeah. List this. I didn't know that actually. I just knew about Cam Clark as Liquid. Grandia 2 cast is from MGS. All right, we got all Iding. So Sky is Colonel Campbell. Jennifer Hale is Elena and Emma. Wait, who does Jennifer Hale voice in here? Is it Elena? And John Kaigan is Melphis and Solid as Snake. Oh, Elena and Emma. Dude, I didn't know that. Holy shit, I can hear it. I can hear it now. He's blew my fucking mind. Merrick is Vulcan Raven. Elena is EE. Dude. I'm a little disappointed in myself. I'm a fake fan. That's awesome, dude. And even John and Richard Doyle were in Grandia 2. Oh. Melphis, who would later appear in the MGS2 as yeah. Vulcan. That's dope, dude. Kind of a big deal. Especially since Grandia 2 and Metal Gear Solid 2 are like some of the best games ever made. It's awesome, man. Yeah, that's fucking cool as hell. I would ruin the interview immediately, lol. We just like fangirl. Not ask any questions. No worries, feel free to join the channel. It's kind of dead, but the interviews are cool. Oh, I already followed you, and like I'm gonna keep that open. I'll definitely listen tonight. I might not finish it tonight, but I'll start it. I might listen to it while I work tomorrow. That's cool shit, dude. Seiken Slash. Oh. So hey, what's with all the super gay stuff with Vulcan? You would, huh? Oh shit. You know me, lol. These guys are a little tough.
Seiken Slash.
You remember the board game I made? No, I don't. Anyone here like the Brandon Lee movie, The Crow? I love The Crow. Only the first one. That's like the only good movie in there. Oh shit, I attacked the wrong one. Damn it. I remember that class. I don't remember exactly which board game you made. Deported. Oh, yeah, I remember. You were ahead of the times.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
I forgot about that. Ours was War Pigs, and it was basically just a rip-off of Final Fantasy Tactics. Merrick's voice actor was the overdub voice for Brandon after the gunshot accident. Oh shit, I didn't know that. He did like ADR. Dude, it's a miracle that movie got made. Or got finished, at least.
I'll tear you to pieces.
Damn. Yeah, dude, giving Ryudo a third attack is game-changing.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Yeah, man, Peter Lorre, absolute legend, helped them make that movie work after a tragic accident. Yeah, it kind of sucks that that happens. That dude was so young in his career, too. Like, if he was alive today, he probably would have been, like, canceled or in some, like, fucking... some banger movies. Who knows? But, no, it fucking sucks, because that movie slaps. Forgot to level up her magic egg. Go night night.
Sleep.
Go night night. I may or may not play Grandia 3 after this, but there's like other one-offs I want to do, so maybe not. I was in Resident Evil land for almost 2 years. Yeah, so Davey and Nightwolf, I streamed all of the Resident Evils, all of them, and I still have a few that I want to do. I didn't do the mobile games, like the Java ones. Resident Evil, bro, you ever tried Biorant? No, not yet. I want to do that, and I also want to do Kendo's. What's that one called? Kendo something. Kendo's Revenge? Something stupid like that. Kendo Cut. Kendo Cut. I want to do the Kendo Cut. But I'm a big Resident Evil fan. It's literally my favorite franchise. Where are your VODs? I went to see if you had one to check it out, but there was nothing recently up there. Oh, or am I just have? No, they're there. I was trying to restructure it so to make room because I also want to do more edited content, but I fucked up. So what you have to do is you have to go to my playlists, and they're there. They'll be collected as VODs there, or you just give me like a day, and they'll be up tomorrow. You bitch. No, it's okay. I'll fix it. It'll just take some time, but just go to the playlist, then they're there. Kendo's Cut and Uncut, they're amazing. You bitch, lol. Do it. I'm a racer and get you into tourneys and shiz. Wait, what do you mean, like racing tournaments? Oh, for like Resident Evil, like speedrunners? The only one I've ever even come close to being like, I think I could speedrun this is just the original Resident Evil. You're cool, Davey. I'm gonna check your channel out. I'm gonna see more. Do you stream? And do you stream, Barrett? Damn, these fuckers are quick. Check out this channel on YouTube to BioRan TV. Is that you? Subscribe. I've been doing speedruns for RE since they put out 7. No? Oh, yeah. You do speedrun. You also platinum them.
Here goes my impact
Takes old school Resident Evil to another level. No, that's not me, but it's a team that hosts tournaments for Valorant. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Thanks for the tips. I don't have a capture card, and streaming straight from my PlayStation makes me cringe because of the huge time delay. Yeah, streaming off console, I mean, if that's all you got, it's all you got. Like, I know a streamer who just streams off of that. But yeah, you definitely need like a... I guess you don't need, but it does help to have like a full setup, you know? Damn, these fuckers are just dodging everything. It's like fighting Wesker. That's all I got. You're good. Yeah, I genuinely love streaming. Even though I don't have as much time to do it as I would love, you know? But I make it work. I try to go for like 2 to 3 nights a week. Let me go back to the save. It was over here. I didn't even go that far. I'm just finding everything I see. And recover. We're good. I started it after my last, well, second to last huge bout of burnout. I was going to the gym constantly. I was working, doing side gigs, and I just didn't have any time for me. Like, by the time everything was said and done, like dinner and shower, like it'd be like 9 p.m. I still have work to do. It was killing me, man. So what I did was I decided to, like, maybe after the recommendation of a couple people, give streaming a shot. I like it because it kind of forces me to quote unquote relax, and it also serves as a bit of a creative outlet because I like making my overlays. Like that, this Final Fantasy thing, I did this. Hi, I'm new. You're so cute. Hey, what up, Dry? How you doing, man? Dry, Dead, Nightwolf, Nightwolf, Dry. I used to go to school with Nightwolf. And then Dry is our resident gigolo. Yo. No follow alerts, eh? Well, boo. Gotcha. Wait, no, I do. I follow alerts. Cool. Gotcha on follow, bitch. Oh, well, thank you for the follow. But no, that should have definitely triggered a follow alert. Didn't pop. God damn it. Everything's kind of breaking low-key. Like, I think, I don't know if, like, Twitch updated their API or something. I don't know. That sucks. Here, let me try something real quick. I'll show you. Because I made it. I was proud of it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I think it's in Elements. Yeah, here, let me mock one up for you. So what's supposed to happen is if somebody follows me, that's supposed to happen. I'm sorry I didn't, but thank you for the follow. It means a lot. I appreciate it. Resident Vile. W follow. Thanks. I also have stuff for different scenes too. Like, I made this CRT one. Wait. Oh, dang. Sorry. Capture. Oh, nice. I made this one for Jay.
I'm retarded?
That's Jay. He's our resident retard. Ah, fuck. Damn, dude, it's like Wesker. Like, fucking slow down. Yeah, your alerts ain't working, son. Damn it. We have a few different types of residents. Yeah, we do. That sucks that it's not working, because I like this one more. Real quick. I think... second. I don't know why they're not working. That's actually upsetting me a little bit, because I worked hard on these, and they should be working. But they're not. Here's another one that I dig. Let's say somebody subbed. That's not supposed to be making the Final Fantasy sound. Oh, dude, all my shit's fucked up for some reason. Alright, I'm gonna investigate later. Dark Body Man's cool. No, I know. It's just like now I want to debug it. Troubleshoot and see what the fuck's going on. My toys are broken. Alright, let's get back to the game. He's not going to investigate later. No, I definitely will. I need to. Dodge this, motherfucker.
Here goes my impact bomb.
Remember when you said you were going to look into Redeem's breaking stream? No, I actually do know what that is. I just haven't done it. I'm gonna play just like you know. No, I appreciate it. Carpage remembers. Hey, Carpage Farm. No, I know what the problem is. I'm just too lazy to fix it. Takes a half hour. Who has a half hour? Gotcha. No, the thing is, I need to actually set up the queue, and I have to do that on a per redeem basis. Well, if it's something I can do, let me know. I'll eat your ass. Well, this anus is always open for you, buddy.
Torch.
No, it's something I have to do in OBS and on Mix It Up. Nice. I thought I was gonna get hit by that.
Hardly worthy of my notice.
OBS, the one software we never ever update. You don't update your OBS? Wait, do you stream? I think I asked you that earlier. I'm sorry if I didn't get your answer. But yeah, I'm also annoyed that I always update OBS. Yeah, I always update OBS too. Normally it breaks everything every time. Well, there's your problem. That's unfortunate. Ah! Because I'm a super huge streamer. I enjoy your streams when I get to catch them. Oh, damn it. I keep forgetting to, just snooze. I feel like my streams are boring. I feel like you are too hard on yourself. I think your streams are fine.
Sleep.
But I get it. I get it. I'm not trying to discredit your feelings here, but low key, I think it might be a little bit in your head, but I do get it. Like I grew up like super shy. That's the kind of stuff I understand. It's not that I'm shy, I'm just a quiet dude. No, that's what I mean too. I'm just saying, like, as somebody who was shy, I relate to being able to speak when I watch someone as quiet as me. Well, I would. You're also just fucking hilarious, you know? So, what are you up to tonight, dude? You playing anything?
These guys were no real challenge.
Delicious. don't know what to play. You got anything new? I should go to bed, but I'm gonna get a run of Risk of Rain 2 before I hit the showers. It's just stream from the shower. I never played Risk of Rain. That's like a roguey kind of shooter? I forget. Oh fuck, you got nothing. Reckon it was my most recent purchase, so not until next month. Same. Even though there's a remake of a Sherlock Holmes game. It's like Sherlock Holmes versus the Cthulhu Mythos, apparently, and I heard it's supposed to be good, and it's like $5. Yeah, roguelite, it's one of those. I actually forget the difference. I think one of those has persistent progress, even with the resets, and then the other one doesn't. I think roguelike. Oh, well, yeah, roguelike is the one where it's like, it really does reset everything, and I think roguelite has some continuous progress. I think that's the difference. That's cool. If you like those kinds of adventure games, I haven't played it, but I saw a trailer and I was like, I'd play that. I like Sherlock Holmes. I like Cthulhu and shit. No, I'm not done looting. I started playing Warframe again. I don't know why. It's fun, but like not amazing. LOL. I never got into Warframe, but I always thought it looked cool. Like it looks like it feels fun to play, you know? Earth and Curus. It's got much better over time. That 1998 or whatever bullshit looked kind of cool. Did I just get ambushed? Yeah, they got ambushed. And man, I have like ADHD or something. I keep forgetting to update my magic eggs, and I've been talking about it for like the past half hour.
Sleep.
They've been working on it since they released it, and it's still going strong. Yeah, no, I've heard it's just as popular as it's always been. Like I said, it looks cool. Like, I know one of my old roommates, actually, when we were all on Destiny, he was like, Warframe's better. Because I guess structurally, they're kind of similar. Which one? At the time, it was Destiny 1. I think I might know. Oh, which roommate? Oh, it was Aaron. Remember him? Yeah. I'm on my first ever Bloodborne playthrough and Persona 4. I highly recommend both games. I never played a Souls game, even though Bloodborne is the one that interests me the most. And Persona 4 is one of the best games ever made. Persona 4 is fantastic. Are you playing Golden on console, or what you got? Or the PS2 version? Oh wait, there's something right here. Money! Bloodborne is peak, have fun. Yeah man, do Bloodborne if you want to try a Souls game. That's the one that like I'm like, that one. So I like the whole like the Victorian gross Cockney accent, the when they all sound like that, you know? It said I can't re-experience that for the first time. I got Persona 4 Golden on PS4. Nice. Hey, dude, if you want a good rhythm game, after you play Persona 4, play Persona 4 Dancing All Night. It fucks.
Tensei can slash!
I'm currently on my first playthrough. I beat the second boss without using the music box, and it was my first attempt, and the chat went crazy. I didn't get the hype. So you said you stream, right? Or I missed it if you said it. Again. Shout out Davey Valentine. Everybody check out Davey.
I've got a cast iron stomach, but
Oh, dude, it's Grandia. 3.
all I've got to eat is
think.
beans. No wonder their
Yes.
hopes and dreams are all
I'm
gone.
gonna give you a follow.
It's enough to make me cry. The people here don't have any meat to eat.
Hell yeah.
That is chill, man.
I want them to enjoy a good meal. Are you with me, Yuki?
Yeah, it's Grandia
Don't
3.
you agree, everyone?
I gotta beat that one of these days.
Sure, I guess so.
Even though our reasoning is different, we all want to help these people.
Finally. Alright, enough sitting around. Let's get back to our world now.
And stay right away from beans.
Of all the fucking clips.
Right, let's
That's
get out of
usually
here.
that's usually
So
how it
long,
is.
beans. An entire conversation around beans. Like,
Goodbye forever.
How long ago was that, do you know? So let me get the fuck out of here. Oh wait, is that another item? Yes. Nice. Fucking maze. Oh, also, I think the dungeon design in this game is way better than the first one as well. Even though I really do like the first one, I think 2 is better in every fucking way. Except this maze that I'm too stupid to solve. Alright, it's this way. I'm solving it. I'm solving it. It's solved. I just want to make sure I got everything, you know? No item left behind. Except the one that I left on the pilgrimage path. That is the one and only clip when I used the voice changer. I was gonna say. So you picked the perfect clip then? Shout it, please. Could you shout again? That clip was not a fair representation. Yeah, I got you, bud. Ah, sucks my alert redeems aren't working. Oh shit. Oh, Resident Evil 3. Is it the fucking insights? What's that shit called? I know that intro. That's funny. Here, let me shout myself out because I'm a prick. What clip will it be? Wait for it. Oh, here we go. Nice. I like this one. Alright. Yo, Gaiden. Or Gaiden. Yeah, the music was kind of great in the main menu. What's the stupid fucking Gaiden's awesome. I liked it a lot. Fortnite kids do. That stupid thing. Alright. Yeah, I liked it a lot, except it pulls some bullshit in the last like 20 minutes of the game.
I pray that we shall be safe ahead.
But it's pretty alright for a Game Boy Color game. The best handheld is clearly Revelations, though. Oh, Noah. Oh, nice. I wonder. When do you wonder, lad? Is this gonna explode? Ooh, fuck yeah. Weakness nut. Golden nut. Shatter limit. Oh, only mods can do it. Yeah, if you want another one, I'll do it. What's next?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's be playing the best VR game I've ever played.
Working on
Which
it,
is,
oh yeah. I'll be right there.
Blood and Truth.
I'm disposed right now. Yeah, right.
That's my fucking Cockney accent.
Yeah, I just think this ain't keeping anything safe.
Game is dope, man. Yeah, it is.
It's like some world record.
Awesome fucking Twitch name, by the way. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, bro.
I'll explain it in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, alright. Oh, that's cool. It goes with my voice, I think. Isn't it just tobacco? Got some water.
Stupid. Oh, yeah, actually, before I forget. But oh yeah. So Shattered Limit started when I was in high school, and it was like, I think it was tied to my first YouTube account. Yes, you are. And at the time, I was actually obsessed with Final Fantasy, and Limit Break was taken. So I was like, oh, what's the next best thing? Shattered Limit, and it just stuck. So that's been like my off and on again handle for like 20 years. I'm old! Fuck! Nice, yeah. That game is dope, man. Yeah, that game fucking rocks. Power up, god damn it. And then the Holy Egg. Holy Diver! Crackle. Speedy. There we go. I was like, what the fuck? Healer Plus. No, all healer. That's what I want. Healer Plus is kind of good too. Ooh, Quake is good too. And then let's do Chaos. Get some zapping here. Zip zapping. Zap all. That might have been a waste, low key. Yeah. Oh, that's right. These are awesome. Okay. All right. Y'all got a Discord? I do. I'm not as active in it as I should be. It serves mostly as a, hey guys, I can't stream tonight, but I'm trying to bring back Discord movie nights. But yeah, feel free to join, geek out. Here you go. That link should work. If not, let me know and I'll get you a fresh one. Because I think they expire? I forget. Oh, I can't touch it. Ah! I have used Discord maybe 4 times since it was created. I do it mostly for, like I said, just letting people know if I can or can't stream, or if things change like that, or notifications for like events like movie nights and stuff. I also let people kind of, you know, advertise their stuff within reason, no spamming. But yeah, if you're going live, or if you have like a Etsy shop or something, you know, feel free. And also I use it for like multiplayer games, like I'm playing Helldivers or some shit, people can call. Or when I was playing Resident Evil Outbreak. What was I gonna do? Let's try White Apocalypse. The thing that Jay wants. And Seiken Slash. To zap all. Damn, that killed my magic.
How about this?
I do this and I do that, and then you do this and do it like that. Good, if you just answered my message last month, I could have made you suffer through RE6 with me. Well, the thing is like my schedule is fucking annoying. Like most of my game time is what you see on stream, and I actually played through RE6 with Vaughn 6 months ago, some shit like that. But when was your message? Was busting your balls, brother? No, but I feel bad. You're not the only person who has a hard time getting a hold of me. It seems to be a trend. On PlayStation? Oh yeah, I'm rarely on PlayStation, and when I am, it's at like 1 AM. Even though I did play the absolute shit out of Resident Evil on there, but yeah. I haven't checked my messages in a long ass time. I should look. It'll be somewhere buried in your message box, I bet. Yo, hey, what up, Davey? Welcome in, brother. Here, hang on, let me welcome you. Father Joey, LMFAO. Yeah, I like wanted to frame it as a cult. I mean, an organization that you can't leave. Oh, that was a waste.
Here goes my impact bomb.
Who are you attacking? Block! Ponita. Ponita, no! I'm glad you're just as much of dumbass as ever, man. Oh yeah, that's never gonna change. I'm gonna be dumb my whole life. But I'm trying. I might be dumb, but I work hard. I like to think I'm pretty alright at what I do. Even though I'm slowly sleep depriving myself to death. I like it. Thanks, man. No, I'm trying to find time for like me stuff, you know? Because like I've said this before, if I'm not like working or doing something, I'm like disgusting and like lazy, like dangerously lazy. You know what I mean? I can't find an in-between, and it's something I'm working on. They to try Grandia Redux sometimes. So, oh, dude, you're the second person to bring that up and mention it to me. There's this other dude who, if you stream Grandia or you're in the thing, you probably know him. It's Contextual Penguin. Has he ever hopped into your Grandia streams? He's been telling me about it. I don't know why I assume the Grandia community is tight-knit. But dude, I fucking love this game. In fact, here, let me show off a little bit. So, one second. Ah, fuck, the controller almost fell. I can't say I've heard of him, and I'm kind of known as the Grandia guy. Well, I'm glad the Grandia guy is in my stream. That's cool. So I have the Grandia remastered digitally, unfortunately, since what's the limited run games? Their shit's expensive, but I have Grandia 2 on Dreamcast, complete in box manual. It's got the CD in it, soundtrack, and then I have Grandia 2 on PS2. I got Grandia 3 on PS2, complete in box as well. I got Grandia Extreme on PS2. And then I got, Strategy Guide for Grandia 2 that I've only used like once. And then, let's see, hold up. Oh, this is one of my favorite things. So, I do, like part-time indie game dev stuff. And one of the companies I worked for, one of the dudes there was actually one of the localization producers, and he gave me a Grandia mug. It's Grandia 2, and he said that it was a prototype that was approved, but it was never put into production. So this is actually kind of rare. And then on my wall, you can't see it, but I have a Grandia poster that I don't want to take down right now. And then I have Ninja Turtles on DVD, so I hear Ryuda all the time. That's awesome. Thanks. Not trying to boast or anything, lol. Just I do legit do as much as I can to boost everyone. Aw. Well, Grandia's sick. I never played. I almost beat Extreme, I think, and I never played much of 3. So I might stream 3, but I might mix it up next time after this. I love Grandia 2. I don't know if I'll ever fully go into like why, because it got me through a pretty rough time. It was like my escape. But I imprinted on this one. This is a great game. Redux is the way to go, trust me. Oh, I will. Maybe next time I stream one, I'll just do that version, because everybody seems to love that one. Like, my understanding is that once you get to disc 2, it just ramps up the difficulty, right? Something like that. Motherfucker. Correct. Okay, yeah, that's what I heard. And dude, you weren't here, but when I finished Grandia 1, I lucked out. So I missed the last save spot, right? And I was using items to keep my MP up and my SP up, but it was like not, it wasn't enough. And then I walked into the last boss, really hoping I wouldn't, because that means I have to do the last dungeon over again. And you know when those little tentacles start spawning the smaller tentacles, and then it does like the big attack? It like the last save spot in Grandia 1, I missed it. It's right before you go up to fight, what's his face? Oh shit, I forgot his name. I'm thinking about, that's the one that's right next to the ending. Yeah. I missed that. So if I died, I would have to do the whole dungeon over again, which would have been like, how? I don't know, man. Ball. Hey, what up, Scuba Steve? I love your name. Scuba Steve was here. Nice. But anyway, those tentacles, for some reason, and this is what Contextual Penguin was telling me, they were doing a move they couldn't do. Like, it needs 3 tentacles in order to do its finisher move or whatever, but it was trying to do it when it only had 1 spawn, so I hella lucked out. I just wasn't taking damage when I should have been. What up, Assad? Ball and Fina were roommates at the time. The voice actors. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, it was Ball. Thank you. Holy shit, Scuba Steve. Nice. Perfect timing. Grandia 1 is perfection. I like it a lot. I like 1 a lot. It's very sweet and cute and charming, and it makes me go, aw. I think I like 2 more. I think 2 is perfection, personally. But I think the only wrong way is to not play him, you know? Saw, dude. Hey, what up, Devil? Holy shit, everybody's here. How's it going? Everybody's popping in. Welcome in, everybody.
There goes my impact bomb.
Saw, dude. You know me, just geeking out about Grandia again. How's your night going, Devilf? Die, motherfucker! Let's go! Yeah, let's kill this one. Leave me alone! I haven't played 2 since the PS2 era, even though I have the remaster on Steam to play. I just forget about it all the time. You should give it another shot. I think the combat in this one is a lot better. But 1, it's fucking sweet. Good, setting up a new Pokemon design, going to try and engrave a card binder. Hell yeah, dude. That'd be awesome. I like that the remaster at least has a hard mode. That's what a lot of people say. Because I know, this game ain't particularly difficult. But I absolutely adore this game. Oh, these fuckers. These are the ones that are like fast. I have to do magic on them. Oh, damn. Hopefully this is enough to just slow them down a bit. Steve, you got a PC? Do you guys know each other? Yeah. I always wanted to play Grandia 3 in Extreme, but they're not available in the UK. They're not? Can't you emulate them? Because I got them right here. Oh, we can't see it. Here's Grandia 3, and here's Grandia Extreme. No, we don't know each other. Oh, okay. Yeah, PCSX2. Yeah, exactly. You can emulate it. Fuck! PS2 emulator, yeah. Oh, you're such a dickhead. Right? Oh, you don't have it? Oh, shame. I totally did that. I didn't mean it like in a bad way. That's funny.
Beast King Blast!
Kill him! Okay, damn it. He almost did this move.
Oh, that was a breeze.
Yeah, PCSX2 is a really good emulator. Dude, I need to talk about Requiem. It's killing me. We will. I'll try to find some free time and we can geek out. I'm trying to think. Maybe, you got Helldivers? We can import them, but then I'd have to get an American PS2 to play it. Just reinstalled earlier. Nice. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, Steve, you should, just emulate it. Like, I'm always of the mindset, like, I prefer not doing that if I can help it, but you can't because they don't have it there. But yeah, just emulate it. You need us to send you a tutorial? Played my first match in a few years. Dude, it's so good. I remember, like, last time I got, like, really into it, I was like, no wonder I've been depressed. I haven't been playing Helldivers because it just fucking puts a goddamn smile on my face. But yeah, Steve, look up, PCSX2. You won't regret it. Those assholes. It's so much fun, but it made me so mad. Oh, because it made it harder? Yeah, sure. I've not looked up emulators. Oh, yeah, I highly recommend it. Here. How to install TS2. And then here, look. This is from a year ago. Or this is actually from 2 months ago. Here, I haven't seen this video, but it's super easy. Just... The worst part is that you'll need to get the BIOS for PlayStation 2, but you can just literally just Google it and you'll find it. They have a bunch of cool stratagems in the upgrade list, but a bunch are DLC Warbond strats. Oh, yeah. This is true. It's really easy, Steve. Feel free to whisper me or reach out on the Discord if you need a hand. Aw, you guys are so helpful. Yeah, I need to find time. There's another friend I told to install it, so hopefully we'll get to play that soon.
Expect an early winter with lots of snow.
I'm back, bitches. Hey, welcome back, Jay. And I was like, fuck you! Die! Please die. No! Okay, cool. Damn it.
You better practice if you want to beat me.
Cowabunga. How was your patrol, Jay? It's funny. Oh, I do know where to go now. There's a boat. You said you were doing a podcast and we're going to talk about Requiem, yes? Lame. Phoenix sucks. It's already hot out. Yeah. Oh, dude, you have to do your patrols outside? I don't know why I assumed you're like in a building like in the movies. Yeah, it's been done.
Please,
oh, nice. I gotta check that out, man.
Fury, O Earth.
Half is outside. We have a 6-story parking garage. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. I was gonna say not to spoil, but look at something
Gotta
cool.
work even harder.
Yeah, no spoilers. Some of the people here haven't played it yet. And it would be a shame to get from somebody. Concept art. Let me get the good ending first. Oh, yeah, that's right. You said, yeah, not spoiling. Yeah, I just have to put it out there as reminders. There are some people that are like low-key autistic here, not here, but like in my, they show up sometimes and I'll be like, no spoilers, and then they'll say it. And I'm like, dude, what did I just fucking say? I have to say it loud for the people in the back. No, everyone here is autistic in some way or another. Yeah, some more than others. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. You're like, bro, the game's been out for like 20 minutes. Not me. Shut up. Not you either. Me. Nice. I'm a proper normie.
Oh, that was a breeze.
I don't know, I think we all got a touch of tism. My hot take, Requiem was a real small game, bearing in mind it costs as much as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and people are already speedrunning in 2 hours. Wait, are they really beating in 2 hours? No, that's fucking possible. but it is small. But my first playthrough was 14 hours. Mostly because I was too scared to go forward, so I was just crawling everywhere as Grace. But I think it's very replayable. I think it's worth full price. My speedrun was 3 hours and 1 minute. God damn, dude. Nice. I didn't know that. What difficulty? No, I'm surprised people are crushing it. I mean, that's really all Resident Evils if you think about it. Like, I think most of them can be finished fairly shortly if you know what you're doing. No one can beat my PR. I think I speedrun is sex. Oh, my personal record. That's funny. What's your personal record? 12 seconds? Oh, that was on casual, so I can get the unlocks. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do too. My next playthrough is just gonna be like on assisted or whatever, and then I'm gonna do it for the challenges. I'm just saying, in comparison, for the same price, Final Fantasy VII gives a lot more gameplay content. That's fair. That's fair.
How about this?
Yeah, no heals, no crafting. Yeah, I gotta do that. And isn't there one? Yeah, that's right. And isn't there one like no item box also? I still think you and I should do an OG RE1 race with no practice. Just do it raw for fun. I'd be down. Like the original OG, right? Like not yeah, OG. I'd be down. We'll start it at the same time.
Oh, that was a
And just for
breeze.
funsies. That's a game I could beat in a sitting. Yeah, when you say Jay and Chat, do it raw. I bet you do. Loser has to blow the winner. Man, that sounds like a win-win in any case. Am I right? Loser has to? I think he mean gets to. Yeah, exactly. That's fucking funny. You guys should try Biorand Racing. Yeah, I never played that one. I should. How about RE1 OG but randomized? I'll race anyone. Chris or Jill, your choice. I prefer Jill's playthrough. I'm cool either way. It's worth considering randomized. I never played that before. As much as I love Resident Evil, I usually just play like vanilla ass campaigns. How about we all speedrun FAP sesh? Cams on. Yeah, I've been wanting to ask you, man, what do you think about the new 007 game coming out? I'm not completely sold on his fucking fuckboy hair design and shit because he looks weird to me, but the game looks fun. The game looks fun. Okay, I'm off to bed. All right, Dry, thanks for hanging out, man. Good night, bitches. Peace out, dude. I really hope the game is good, man. Yeah, same. I'm gonna wait for reviews. And I need to see more gameplay because I'm not 100% sold just yet. But the game looks fun. But when I saw the fucking Lenny Kravitz stuff, I was like, "Fuck is this?" But I think they're doing the thing that Hitman did, where it's like they have constant celebrities. This town is bustling with activity. The fruit of prosperity is in abundance. This peaceful scenery is just a facade. When the time comes, its true ugly form is sure to show itself. This is where we find out some big stuff about Roan. Still a bitch though. We, the people of Kyrum, I forget already. Kyrum, are known as the descendants of the people of darkness. So is the Grand Saber in this country? What do you mean by descendants of the people of darkness? Not like everyone's hunched over, rubbing their hands and muttering curses. You're saying that you're one of these people? Yes. Most probably have almost no memory of the people of darkness. Only my people can never forget. That is why I left to learn about the confrontation between light and darkness. I was getting sold on Crimson Desert, and then I just saw that it's having the same level of performance issues as Cyberpunk 2077. I forgot all about Crimson Desert. Hopefully they fix it. Because they super fixed Cyberpunk. Come, let's get a room first. Tomorrow we can start searching for the meaning of Zara's words at launch. Yes, I know that, lol. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm sure they'll fix it. Hopefully they fix it. Let's go to the store first. I still need to finish Cyberpunk. Whoopee! We got some great deals here. Oh, wait. Let me equip the stuff I found first. Shame! Yeah, I know. I know, buddy. I know. Very destructive. Oh, hell yeah. Poison knife. No, I like the warp one. Albert. There you go, buddy. There you go, buddy. Oh, wait, what? Ups evasion by 5%. Reduces IP slowing. He could use that. He's fucking slow as hell. I'm disappointed in you, sir. Well, I'm disappointed in myself. I say that to myself in the mirror every day. Just make sure I'm not like selling shit I could use first. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? No, fair. I can't argue that. Sell. Oh, fuck off. Sell that, but sell it. Armor. I'm rich. Okay, main gouache. Gosh. I see. Yeah. Ooh, for Millennia whenever I do find her again. Is it wrong that I just heard the Chappelle meme in my head when you said, "I'm rich, bitch"? That's not wrong. I quote Chappelle all the time. In fact, I looked at some of my painting. I painted fucking Tyrone right next to me. Here, check this out. Let's see. Here, step into my office for a second. Bro, I saw it on your Insta vid. Oh, I didn't even know you saw that. I posted it on Instagram? I did, huh? Was it the, oh no, Spawn? Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. Just in case anybody else is show off for a second. There he is. There's Tyrone. And then I have the Victorian one from the inside the actor studio on the other side of this wall. Nice. All right. That back on. Back. Get back to business. Right. There is armor. Okay. That's awesome, man. Thanks. I still intend of doing a speed ramp of the recording that I did because I streamed the entire thing, and I need to do more art streams. It's just I've been like fucking lagging on a friend's commission. It's like a year past due, man. And if I'm gonna work on something, I have to work on that, and I can't stream that because he watches my stream sometimes. Nah, saying. So. Did I fuck up? Okay, no, I'm good. Oof, lol. Yeah. I'm basically Michelangelo, not the Ninja Turtle. Because I think that was his thing too, right? Like he was just like hella late on all his projects. LMFAO. Recover, save game, and unfortunately, this is where I must stop for the night. I have work in the morning, but I might stream tomorrow. Actually, I usually don't stream on Tuesdays, but I'm loving this game so much, I might actually like procrastinate on other stuff so I can get some more progress in this game done. You know, all work no play makes Joey a depressed boy. I gotta play. Yeah, what's gonna happen here? We're gonna step back into my other office. You bitch, you would call yourself Michelangelo. Yeah, that's the joke. But who is live? We got Rin playing Kingsfield 4. Ooh. PB. Ooh, Samus Titty. Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, my camera is fucked up right now. Tonight. The Batman night. Alright. Oh, speaking of Ninja Turtles, see my pajama pants. Oh, never mind. Well, they're Ninja Turtles, I assure you. Fucking NVIDIA. Alright. Cool. Ooh. Yeah, let's raid Rin. I believe you. Alright, yeah, we're gonna raid Rin. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. I had fun tonight. This is a good stream. Successful stream. Thank you for the follows, everybody. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's good to hear from you, Barrett. Sorry, I've been fucking on Lonerville. Have a good one, man. Hit me up when you find some time. I'm working on it. Just keep checking in. It's like I have to wait for the stars to align. You can ask some people in this chat. Like, it's a pain in the ass for me to schedule like hangouts. I hate it. Bye. Peace out. But we're gonna raid Rin. Rin's playing Kingsfield. You like Kingsfield, right, Jay? All right, everybody. You have a great rest of your night. I do. Yeah. Sure. I'll text you tomorrow and see if it's the same number. So yeah, my number hasn't changed. It's the same number. All right, buddies. You have a great night. I'll probably catch you tomorrow. If not, for sure Wednesday, but most likely tomorrow. Cool, okay. Yay.